Finally, it's here, Volkswagen's T-Roc, the brand's first small SUV and one it desperately needs to fill an increasingly large gap below its Tiguan midsizer. But since it's been on sale since 2017 internationally, is it a story of too little too late for Volkswagen? Before we find out, remember you can read the full written review over on carsguide.com.au and hit those like and subscribe buttons to stay up to date with our latest reviews.
Right from the get-go, you'd hardly be able to tell that the T-Roc has been on market internationally since 2017. It's a damn sharp-looking little jigger.
There are so many parts on this car that are kind of cool and unlike the rest of Volkswagen's very serious range. Take the front here, for example. There's this really nice textured grille here, these LED light fittings, and these cool integrated indicators in the DRLs here. Then round the side here, you've got these big wheels that really fill these arches and stylish trim bits that are part of this R-Line package. Round the back, you've got a cutaway coupé kind of roofline that is really accentuated by the chrome trim that runs across there. It all adds up for a very athletic sort of package.
This car's very profile cuts an athletic frame, speaking to its youthful target audience. I bet you're thinking, well, this all looks a bit expensive, and that would be because it is. The T-Roc is available in just one variant, the 140 TSI Sport, that starts at a whopping $44.90. For that money, you can have a mid-grade Tiguan, or even higher specs of some mid-size rivals. And in terms of small SUVs, it's far more pricey than even the notoriously expensive Mazda CX-30. Once you delve into the spec sheet though, you'll quickly find out why it costs so much. In Australia, the T-Roc gets an R-Line Sports Pack as standard, which includes the sexy exterior look, progressive steering, as well as all the safety inclusions like full radar cruise, freeway speed auto emergency braking, blind spot and lane keep assist.
On the inside, you get this really impressive digital dash suite, Audi style. You get this impressive touch screen that houses the multimedia system. You also get keyless entry with push start ignition and this auto dimming rear vision mirror. That's not all there is to our car though. No, our car gets this amazingly impressive panoramic sunroof that also opens. It gets this Vienna leather seat trim, and that's part of a $3,500 pack. But that's not all either. Those giant wheels we mentioned before and this 300-watt Beats audio system that actually sounds pretty good, that'll be another $2,000 thanks. And then there's the premium paint option on our car, that's another $600 on top.
Keeping track? That makes the total for our very well specified car where an MSRP of $46,590. Pretty close to $50,000 once you get it on the road. While its compact dimensions might not make it look very big for that money, it's actually brilliantly packaged in the cabin with plenty of room up front. The only letdowns are the abundance of hard but well-textured surfaces and the manually adjustable seats. On a final note, the T-Roc will be covered by Volkswagen's 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty and will have service packs that last either 3 or 5 years that are able to be bundled in at the time of purchase.
The back seat here is pretty good too. Getting in and out isn't quite as easy just because it's got a smaller door aperture and a really high wheel arch there, but once you're inside, the room is actually really good. There's plenty of knee room for me, a surprising amount in fact, and headroom's not too bad despite that sunroof too. You've got 2 adjustable air vents and a 12-volt power outlet in terms of amenities as well. Despite that coupé roofline, the T-Roc actually has a pretty practical boot. It's bigger, in fact, than its Golf sibling, coming in at 392 litres. What does that mean? Well, it fits our largest CarsGuide case easily, but perhaps no more than that. And if it's practicality you're after, remember that Volkswagen is also offering its T-Cross SUV, which, even though it's smaller, is bigger on the inside. It's under the bonnet here that the T-Roc's value equation makes even more sense. It's beating hard as a 2-litre engine with surprisingly powerful outputs that place it amongst the most powerful in the non-premium small SUV segment. Now I reckon this is actually the gold standard for non-premium small SUVs now. And it's not just power from that 2-litre turbo engine, it's ride and handling too. Think of it compared to its competitors. We've got something like Mazda CX-30. Now that's nice on the inside, nice and plush and luxury, and it's relatively well put together too, but it's just not quite as polished as this. And then there's Hyundai's Kona. You can get a 2-litre engine there, so it's not necessarily power that's the issue, but it also doesn't have the swish, almost luxurious nature of this car's interior either. Having that extra power as well means there's a few less of those little common Volkswagen complaints, things like turbo lag, that's less of an issue here, and getting caught in intersections, caught in between gears and without power, that's a little bit less prominent in this car as well. Handling is excellent. It's happy to carve up any corner you can throw at it, and that's helped by that active chassis control, that dynamic steering that's on our car, and the all-wheel drive as well is excellent, and that really sets it apart from something like a Golf GTI as well. I'd say actually this car is sort of almost 80% of a Golf GTI in its general characteristics. It's really fun to drive, it's really punchy, it handles really well, and it's not quite as powerful, but it's almost there. The ride is actually really good too. I know you're probably looking at those giant wheels before thinking, oh, I don't know if it's gonna ride so well, and you know, especially with that really good handling as well, the cost could be a bit of a rough ride, but it's not actually that bad. It's really composed over most bumps, and it's only the sharpest of bumps that you really notice that extra wheel size. There's just not quite enough tire to absorb it, and that's really my main complaint in here. That composed ride also makes it really quiet, and there's plenty of insulation from the engine, so unless you're really pushing it, you can't hear that either. The T-Roc really is a bit of a different take on the smaller SUV formula. It's well specified, it's youthful, it's even well packaged, but we think its tall price of entry will make it only for those really looking for that best-in-class drive experience that it provides. What remains to be seen is whether Volkswagen has all of its bases covered with its smaller T-Cross sibling.